Okay, I had to hit the pause button on our 30-day series because history was just made at the White House. On January 7th, the war on saturated fat was officially declared over. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know I've been teaching this to my clients for years. I've been telling you that the old up food pyramid was a fabrication designed to line the pockets of big corporations while our health suffered. Well, the world finally caught up. RFK Jr. and the new administration just flipped that food pyramid over, validating exactly what I've been talking about in this series and what I've been shouting from the rooftops for years. This isn't just a political headline. It's a victory for the truth, guys. Today, I'm breaking down my commentary on this historic briefing for you, but I'm not just going to share clips. I'm going to give you 3 specific ground level tips that you can get out of this video to help you implement these new, but actually old truths into your daily life. So let me set the stage for you. For 40 years, the government told you that the food on your plate was killing you. And on January 7th, they admitted that they were wrong. Today, I'm showing you the White House briefing that flipped the food pyramid upside down and why I've been teaching my clients to eat this way for years. The war on fat is over. Let's talk about how to win your health back. Now, look, the White House briefing was long, so it was packed with policy talk and high-level science. But I know you're busy and you've got a life to live. So I've sat through the whole thing and synthesized it down for you as well as my clients. Here's the recording of that Zoom meeting with my clients. The food pyramid got turned upside down by RFK Jr., which is terrific. January 7th, yesterday, was when they had the press conference at the White House. You see here, a ribeye steak. That's good, healthy fat. Don't fear it as long as it came from what? Grass-fed animals. Now here's where I'm going to save you time. I'm extracting the gold, the 3 most critical ground level tips that I've been teaching my clients for years so that you can walk away from this video with exactly what you need to change your health today. This is the easy button version of the White House reset. You can see here protein, dairy, and healthy fats. Let's break that down. I don't like the word saturated fat because I think when people hear that, they don't understand what it is. If Mother Nature made the fat, thumbs up. If man made the fat, questionable. The briefing discussed moving away from ultra-processed plant proteins back to whole foods. The tip here, stop counting grams of protein, guys. We are counting quality of protein. That's the important key. And I've always taught that protein from a ribeye steak is not the same as processed soy burger protein. Stick to the trifecta, guys, that we discussed in my previous videos. The government is finally admitting that the animal protein is the most bioavailable fuel for the human body. Tip number 2, RFK Jr. highlighted that the processed seed oils, canola, soybean, vegetable, they were pushed alongside the old pyramid. The tip here, the White House just confirmed what I've told my clients for years. Your body doesn't know what the heck to do with those factory-made fats. The first move today, go into your pantry and toss out the plastic bottle of yellow oil. Replace it with fats that are now officially been vindicated. Butter, beef tallow, or ghee. These are all stable at high heat and are the easy button for fixing your hormone issues. When it comes to cheese, our problem in the US, we make it too fast for profits. We don't ferment it enough, which causes us to have reactions to it. The next thing, poultry. You want poultry that is not raised in cages. You want poultry that is what? Out foraging like the way they should, pasture raised. I had a client go, oh, but I thought you wanted me to buy pasteurized eggs. No, not pasteurized, pasture raised. RFK Jr., he said vegetables first and fruit. You know, most people say the other way. We grew up on fruits and vegetables. No, that is dessert first and then vegetables? No. RFK Jr. said it the correct way. He emphasized vegetables first, not fruit. So if somebody says, oh, I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I hear that a lot from influencers all over YouTube. As soon as they hear that, I start listening to their videos. They're just the blind leading the blind. They know a lot, but unfortunately, they don't know the right things. Vegetables here and fruit, go for the organic. If you can't go for the organic, at least go for the ones on the clean 15 list. The clean 15 means it's not organic, but more than likely it doesn't have a lot of glyphosate. Remember, this is not a complete list. This is all suggestions. So go back to your pick list that I give you. Pick one of each, go through that list, find things, and then you start to learn. Now, don't fear natural fat. I'm going to remind you guys, if right now you have in your refrigerator low fat or 2% milk, you're fearing fat. Throw that out. When you take out what Mother Nature put in, you're creating another problem. And we're not here to go into all those problems. I'm just letting you know. If you have low fat anything in your refrigerator or you have low fat anything in your pantry, throw it out. It's trash. Does that make sense for you guys? Not to fear fat. The reason the old pyramid failed you is that it kept you hungry. Saturated fats and proteins are what actually are going to trigger hormones that tell your brain that you're full. Stop the little 6 meals a day myth. Eat the 2 or 3 high fat, high protein meals with fiber rich vegetables. When you stop fearing fat, you stop the 2 p.m. crash that we talked about in my previous videos. You don't need willpower when you have biochemical satiety. And this is one thing I keep telling people. If you're relying on willpower, that honeymoon is going to be over. And then you're going to have to come back to me to move forward. Here's the important part. Dr. Martin Makary. He is the FDA commissioner appointed by Donald Trump. He is a pancreatic surgeon and an author. He works on the one organ that most medical industry doctors and professionals and gurus out there all over the internet, nutritionists and dietitians, do not have a freaking clue about. Processed food company is a very powerful, powerful group of people. A lot of money is affected by what was said yesterday at the White House, not only with packaged processed food, but with the medical industry that reaps benefits from keeping us sick so that we can stay on their medications and do their surgeries. These are his words. He said, our healthcare crisis is a result of, and I quote, bad advice from the government and medical establishment. For decades, peddled research from a flawed 1960s model, and today we are setting the record straight. He said right up here, bad advice from the government. Why do you think other administrations wouldn't say this statement that it was the government's fault? Because they were in cahoots with it. They were getting kickback money, just as we doctors in private practice get kickbacks from pharmaceuticals to prescribe to our patients what they recommend we prescribe. When you have a government administration who's making money off of underhanded payments, you get bad government policy, which has affected our children at school. The lunches are horrible, which has affected our military because they feed our military crap, and which has affected also hospitals. Some of the worst food available to you at the hospital where you're supposed to get health care. I saw it at UC San Diego Health in La Jolla when my father had his 4-way bypass. The worst food that would come his way.
If you're a patient in the hospital, how in the world can you tell them, no, I ain't going to eat that, bring me back something else?
When I was with my father, I'd go outside and bring food in. It was in La Jolla. La Jolla is a very ritzy area. There were plenty of restaurants I could go to and get great food, and I'd bring the food in.
My wife would bring in food to me.
Yep. But here's what's important about what Dr. Makary said, that people need to stop taking drugs they don't need. When he said that at the podium, oh, that was a shot across the bow to Big Pharma. And the reason he said that has to do with his addressing the root cause of the broken healthcare system. And this is why I'm putting his picture here along with his statement. What do you think he put as the root cause? He has 2 things that he brought up: insulin resistance and body inflammation. You guys know how excited I am because what have I taught you in the 8-week course? That the cause of all disease, or almost all disease, and in my course, I tell you about 85% of what ails all of you is your own fault by how you eat, when you eat, and what you eat, and sleep. All of that contributes to inflammation. And here, Dr. Makary said it at the podium yesterday. Insulin resistance and body inflammation is the root causes of our broken healthcare system, and he is bound to fix it. CDC, Centers for Disease Control. Over 90% of healthcare spending is spent treating chronic disease. What is chronic disease? When you go to a doctor and they prescribe you a medication and you just get the same prescription every year, or you get added more of the same prescription or a different variant of that drug, but you stay on these drugs. year after year after year after year. Some people who come in here have been on these drugs for 30 years. I have the data now to prove what I had been telling you all this time. 90% of what ails you guys, you can fix. Isn't that a wonderful revelation? That you guys know it's in the palm of your hand? All you guys need to do, don't negate the simple stuff that you think, oh, that can't be that great. I really don't have to do that. Because you guys think everything has to be hard in order for it to succeed. And no, what I'm trying to get out of your head is it's not the no pain, no gain. It's the simplest of things that we do, the innocuous stuff that can turn the ship around. Dr. Makary has written these books. Let me go over the titles with you. This one, Blind Spots, When Medicine Gets It Wrong and What It Means to Our Health. This other one, The Price We Pay, What Broke American Health Care and How to Fix It. Here's the other one at the top, the Dr. Makary Diet Cookbook. I will also link all these books below. I think this one deserves for me to read you the full title on this because the book cover doesn't say it all. Unaccountable, What Hospitals Won't Tell You and How Transparency Can Revolutionize Healthcare. I don't know how many of you were here last week when my brother spoke about his wife who works for Kaiser. And she said, if I'm ever in the hospital, don't ever leave me there alone. And that relates to the book that Dr. Makary wrote, What Hospitals Won't Tell You and How Transparency Can Revolutionize Healthcare. A cheap meal made with processed food is an illusion. You pay for it on the back end with what? Diabetes, obesity, illness, everything from anxiety and depression to dementia. And in between, cancers. There's only 10% of problems that you guys will have that you have to pray to God about and say, God, please help me. All the rest, 90%, God already gave you what you needed in the human body. So let January be your jump off point to say, okay, this is the year. I'm not going to negate the simple stuff. My clients during our weekly Thursday meeting, I wanted to make sure that they understood the gravity of what happened on January 7th, not just as a headline, guys, but as a total validation of the work that they've been doing. My clients started layering in their own experiences. I want to share with you a few of the insights that came out of that live Zoom because it makes the White House briefing feel a lot more real for your own kitchen.
Can I mention one thing about butter? I see butter on there. I was in a food manufacturing plant, and when they change from making one product to another, they have to tear the equipment down and they sanitize it. You know, they can spray it with hot water and chlorine. They sanitize all the equipment before they can run the next product through those machines. However, when the product contains salted butter, they don't need to sanitize it between changeovers. And so the salted butter kills the bacteria and they don't even have to sanitize the machine. So ever since I saw that, we've only bought salted butter.
Oh, and by the way, your son is a chef. What are his thoughts on salts? I just know that I use more than most people are comfortable with because people are still stuck in the 1970s and 80s when salt was villainized.
My son grew up with it villainized because of our home and our families. When he went to chef school, a Cordon Bleu, he had to learn how to change his taste buds so that he'd use more salt, because to him, it tasted fine without the salt, and he had to change his whole perception of food.
No, I just had one thing to add about the upside down pyramid, the one that was in the 60s. That was, you won't be surprised, but Kellogg.
Oh, wait, the doctor that made Kellogg's cornflakes?
Yeah.
He had something to do with pyramid?
Well, he wanted to sell cereal.
Thank you for letting me know. Whenever I talk to you guys about the body, I'm always referring to a higher power because our bodies are amazing. When you talk to a guru or somebody online and they're referring to their product line, you look at what the intention is behind that. There's where the problem lies. Look, the reason I do these Thursday meetings and the reason I'm sharing it with you today is simple. The truth shouldn't be a secret. We've spent 40 years being told some lies. Now that the White House has officially flipped the pyramid, it's time to make sure every man in America hears about it. If you're tired of the big food lies and you're glad someone is finally calling it out, hit the like button right now. It tells the YouTube algorithm that this is the kind of truth men actually need to see. If you want to be the first to know when the status quo gets challenged and get the easy button tips to actually apply it to your life, hit the subscribe button and turn on those notifications. We are just getting started with the 30-day series. I'm going to keep bringing you the gold just like I do for my clients every Thursday. So drop a comment below and let me know what was the one food you're excited to put back on the menu now that the war on fat is over. I'll see you in the comments.